Hello, welcome to my channel, Paint with Terry. We're going to be doing another painting on a white canvas. We've got it prepped with some linseed oil, and then we've just wiped it off with a napkin or a paper towel. We got a little sketch of a mountain river scene that we're going to do with a few cherry blossoms in the background and some here in the foreground. And this is going to be our idea of Mount Fuji in Japan. So we're going to take some of our light blue color that we've thinned it down a bit with some thinner. We're just going to start in down and around here. We just want to brush out from that mountain area. We'll have a big mountain in and around here. And that's why we thin it out, because we want that light blue, but we want to like really light. And sometimes if you can see, like, sometimes if you put it on a little too thick, then it'll go a really dark blue, and that's a little too dark for what we want. And same thing down here. Just add in some areas. We're going to start fanning out from the edge of where we want our mountain to be. And it's okay if you go inside the mountain area a little bit or whatever. You can make your mountain look however you want, or you can use whatever colors in your sky. Like I say, this isn't, you don't need to make your paintings look exact. This is more of just an idea. Painting, if anything, should be fun, right? You don't really hold yourself to any kind of standard. I'm just lightly going over the whole area and getting some nice blendability on the paint, covering any spots that might not have any. Now that we have our sky area in there, the first color anyways, we could use a filbert brush, or we don't even really need to use a filbert brush, we just use a smaller brush. Just another one like what we were using, just a little smaller. And we're going to take some of our aqua blue that we've made up. We're just going to add in a few little areas. What do you need? We'll fix that little loop there that we made. And we'll get our brush that we were using. And we're just going to do the same thing. We'll do these little sweep motions, kind of coming across and sweeping up. We're just lightly going across it. You don't want to completely blend the color right away. We're just going to take this light bristled brush and just do these little circular motions, just kind of hitting it really lightly. You can lightly sweep across it as well. You're just trying to get rid of those brush mark lines. We don't need to worry too much about where our mountain's going to be, because we're going to be doing that, obviously, a darker color. Once we have a nice blend on our sky area, move on to, we use a filbert brush for this part. We're just going to put in the outline of our mountain where we want it to be. And we're going to use a black that we just lightened up with a tiny little amount of titanium white. We can come right across this area. Let's have them dropped right down. Get a little bit more color on there. And just from the top edge, just start pulling it down. Oh, we got a majority of our outline done. We'll just switch brushes. Get something a little bit bigger, just so we're not spending too much time trying to get the color in there. and only to a certain area you want to pull down. We don't want our mountain too dark either, so we'll take some of this dark and use it to fill in the rest of the mountain. And if you go outside that first initial line, as long as you don't go outside of it too much, we can fix that up. We'll get a little bit more color just up and around this area. We want the top of this mountain to be more dark than the lower portion of it. You can just sweep that out. Now we just fix up the edges. Now that we got the edges all cleaned up, we're just going to take a soft bristle brush, any kind of brush, as long as you just lightly fan across it. Just going to clean up the bottom edge of this mountain. Now we can take a liner brush. We're just going to get in some of our branches that we have near the top. For that, you just want to use some of your thinned out black color on your liner brush. We can kind of start to sketch out where we want these things. I should add to do these branches. Best to have, like I say, the thinned out. The thinned out color just makes it go nicer on the brush. Now that we got that little area in there, we can do the same thing. Just gonna get in our outlined little area of where we want our river to start and end. Yeah, now that we got that area in there, I'm just gonna take a clean brush, just a small little brush. We're gonna put some of our Viridian green. We're just gonna start getting some color in and around here. And every so often, we're gonna leave a little area where we didn't put any of that Viridian green, and that's where we're gonna put in a little cherry blossom. Just kind of dab around, just leave a little spot open there. as we get closer this way, we're not going to bring the color right down to the black. We're going to leave a little bit of an edge for like a shoreline. And the idea is that these trees should kind of get bigger as they come across, kind of thing. We're just going to do green as a, like for the base layer for our bushes and trees that are going in, because most of them are going to be green with like little bits of yellow and whatnot. We don't really need too much different base color. And we can use that small filbert brush again. You just want to clean it off, get a majority of that darker color off. We're just going to take some of our burnt sienna color. We don't need to have it thinned out. I'm just going to come along here, just along that bottom edge. And we got where our little shoreline area is going to be. We want to use these small little tiny brushes so we can dab in our different shades of green, and we can get our color in for the cherry blossom. And for those cherry blossoms, we're just going to use a purple red color that we lightened up a bit with some titanium white, just a tiny amount. all you really need to do is just dab your brush into it, because you don't want, and for this part actually, you can even thin it down a tiny bit, just don't use too much. That'll help, so you don't really leave like globs of paint. I'm going to take some of that color and just dab it in around here. And then we just dab into that thinner color. And we can have just a little in here. A little bigger one. Maybe we can have just a little something in here. And so for these cherry blossoms that we're going to be doing in the foreground, you can use that same brush we were just using. And you pretty much just want to tap along these branches near the tips. Right now we're just putting in that darker pinky color. And this is like sort of like shadowing the area that we want. We're just going to get a little bit more thinner. And we're just dabbing in a little bit. We have a few little branches there. We do the same thing, but we're just going to come in right across here with some of that. Actually, we can just get a bit of a bigger brush for this next area. Excuse me, before we even start worrying about that area down there, we're just going to get our watercolor in and around there first. And so for that, we're just going to take some of our green color that we made up. We use that by making a little bit of light blue and some green. We're just going to come in here along this. We're just kind of brushing this up into that shoreline area. We don't really need much. We're just getting the color on. We're going to blend it in a little nicer with a different brush. But the fan brush does work good to get this swept into the edges. Just gonna blend with this fast before we do the other blending with a different brush. Just kind of spreading around that color a bit. Now we're going to take some of our aqua blue. And same thing, we're just going to hit these areas, certain areas. We're just going to get a bigger brush here. All we're doing is lightly fanning across, just giving that paint a nice blend, and it basically softens the paint out and takes away a lot of those brush marks that might have been put in. Now that we got our water area in there, we could get our palette scraper, and we could even do the mountain top there. We're just going to get some of our titanium white for that. Just want to get a small amount, a little roll on the edge of it. Pretty much right along that top line. I tap. I'm going to pull this on a downward angle. So only so far because we want a certain effect eventually. I'm just going to come right along that edge. And just let it kind of do those little pointed tips there. I'm just going to add a few more of these little highlighted lines that kind of like little jagged things that come out. And same thing, we just get rid of those little tips there at the top. We're just going to take some of that dark color that we were using, the dark pink red color. We're just going to continue what we were doing, just dab it in a few areas. You can still see that green in areas coming through. That's what you want. You don't want to completely fill that area in because this is a lot closer to us in perspective. And we're just going to take some of that pure red purple mix just so we have some really darker shaded areas, just odd spots. Just dab your brush into a little more of that color if you need to. That's really all you need for that area. We're just going to dab into some of that lighter, bit of the lighter color that we have. Oh, we'll just bring something out like this. We can take some of that lighter color that we were just using, like not the complete light color, but the one we lightened up a bit. We're just going to tighten that up. I'm just using the corner of the brush to add in these little reflections. And you only want to do a reflection along this side as if maybe the sun's coming in from that angle or whatever kind of thing, right? I guess it would be like that angle. Maybe the same thing, dab it a bit more here, and this one's a little bit bigger, so. We can use that same brush. We just get a little bit of gradient green on the tip. You don't need to clean the brush first, because the gradient green's darker, it's going to pretty much overtake it. You just on the side of the bush, come along this color line. We just want to take our blending brush or like a longer bristle brush of any sort. Usually acrylic ones work really well. We're just going to really lightly just kind of drag down on it, but just lightly. Kind of fanning it from that edge. I'm just going to use this one, just the same thing. Just want to get that edge kind of the same colors as what's going on in the background. I just want to clean our brushes up because we're going to start adding a couple highlights on the trees. Bear with me a moment, just get my brushes cleaned up, the ones we'll be using anyways. We're just going to get some of our light pink. You just want to dab the brush into it. You can just use the edge of the brush if you need to. Boy, it's nice to use the smaller brushes. Starting out with our cherry blossoms first. We're just dabbing in some of that lighter pink color over the red part that we had, that darker pink. Now we got those parts dabbed in. We're going to use that same brush for this upper part of this upper section. Basically just want to dab in a few things. We're going to use our bigger brush for this bottom cherry blossom. Same thing though, you just want to dab your brush in. I'm just popping in a few little random spots of color. Now that we got those sections there, take a clean brush. We're going to dip into our titanium white, and then into that light pink. Basically you want to have like a really white pink color. Essentially white with just a light hue of pink in there. And we're just going to come in and pop in a few. Now that we got those colors in there, I'm just going to take a bit of our titanium white color. And we're going to have this really tiny little brush. I'll start popping in a few little things coming out near the edge. This will work better if you have a little bit of thinner on there. But like same thing, you don't want too much on there. Really dab it in a few little. Now we got those areas. I just do the same thing, squat out a little bit near the edges here. I can use this really tiny little brush for these things back here. Take a little bit of white out of this distant one. We're just going to hit this cherry blossom, just doing these little circular motions. Basically just going back and forth. You want to do it really lightly as well. You're not trying to get rid of all of the white areas, just trying to give it a nicer blend. So. Same thing in here. A few of the areas. Now we're going to use some different variants of color for the trees in the background. We'll start with a different shade of green. Just pop in a few little things. This green, I should mention, is sap green. We've made it a little bit lighter with some Cadian yellow. The idea isn't to have all of it the same color, right? So you're just leaving little gaps and spaces for some next colors or maybe some shadowy areas. That's really all you need for that variant. Now we just want to get another small brush. You could use the same one, just clean it first. I'm going to take some of our yellow orch. And same thing, you just want to dab into it. Don't want too much. Pop in a few little things. We're just going to take some of that burnt sienna. We can lighten it up with a little bit of yellow orch color just to change the tint of it. Once you have that, same thing, just a few random little spots. Now that we have our different shades of colors in there, we're just going to take our brush that we were using and just kind of dab right into that yellow. And that's going to give us this really, really light color of that burnt sienna. And now we have our little areas in there. You can even just dab in a bit of color in these areas. Just something like that will be good. We can just take our small liner brush and touch up that edge of the shoreline here. Now we can add just a few little stick areas here. Kind of just scratching these in. Really all you need is just a few little scratched in things. Then we're going to do the same thing over here. Oh, I had a big old cloud up there in the sky. For that, we just want to have a clean fan brush. And I find an acrylic brush works nice for this, but so does a stiff or bristled one. So it's really whatever you have will work. For this, we're just gonna kind of sweep up or something like that. And we're just gonna take our blending brush. We hit those edges. Just doing little circular motions is all. Not so much that it gets rid of the shape of the cloud, but just enough that it blends it and will soften the cloud. I'm just going to lightly fan across it. I just want to get your liner brush, have a little bit of thinner on there, and you can go right into that black color that you have. We'll use that for our initials, or you could use any color you like, but Once we have our initials on there, that's pretty much all we need. We have ourselves our edition of Mount Fuji in Japan. You could always just grab your palette scraper and kind of just drag these things down a little more if you'd like. You could add some birds in the distance or flying off into the distance. Completely up to you. I hope you had fun watching. And if you haven't already, you can like and subscribe and you'll get all the latest content. Thanks for watching and have yourself a great day.